Hey, how's it going? It's your boy, the Media Print.
Hey, everybody. It's Raven Paris.
I'm Walt, like Walt.
Hey, friends. It's your girl, Miniskirt Myrt.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you to our Black History episode. And we want to tackle, Black history. And we are the Black Code. And it makes sense to dive into everything Black for our culture. Now, 2021 did get off to a rocky start.
Ghetto already.
Very ghetto with the Capitol and everything. But we also lost a historian, a pioneer, a living legend, the Cicely Tyson. I just had, for some reason, I just knew she was going to make it to like 150. I just felt like she was just going to keep going. We just saw her not too long ago in A Fall from Grace, and just to see her still being able to act and remember lines and still be so coherent in that day and age. And she just put out her memoir as well, just recently, like not even days before she passed.
Hey, no, I feel like literally that was the day that it did, or the day before, or the day of.
Yeah, I think the memoir came out and she passed the following day. Yeah. I believe.
Wow.
So that's why I feel like her family already knew, and that's why they wanted to put out a memoir or something and let that be the last thing that we get from her. And it's crazy because my great grandmother, they both passed away at the same age. And I know we always say we feel like people should live forever, but it's like, imagine really being 97, pushing 100. You didn't watch majority of your sisters, your brothers, your uncles, your people around you die. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're probably ready to go.
I had a little running joke. I was like, her and Betty White probably had a little banter going back and forth, like, race to the heaven.
I always used to say that Betty White and Cicely Tyson, I'm just saying it for me, I just felt like they were the same person, just white and black. I always felt like that. And I'm like, okay, those are two Lee and, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like Betty White low-key a little black.
I feel like Betty White was, I'm like, damn, Cicely, you beat me. Like, I feel like low-key, like to that point of just living a full life. When you live a full life and you've done all these things, death is way different. It's really a transition. Yeah. It's like I've mastered this phase of my life or whatever this was supposed to be. And like, I'm literally ready to go meet the Lord. I'm ready.
Period. They lived good, long lives. So shout out to Cicely Tyson.
And did you know her career spanned 72 years? Like, she's been working.
And she took a decade off. Yeah. Just so for people, like, I think that's very inspirational to entrepreneurs and creatives like ourselves. We often think we can't take breaks and get back to what we love. From 81 to 91, she didn't do anything. But after after you filmed The Roots, I probably would have needed to take a break too.
Yeah.
Okay, I need a break.
Jeez,
since we are talking about the regal Cicely Tyson, I think it's only right for everybody to go around and just say one of their favorite notable roles or movies of hers, especially for a generation where there may be a disconnect. Like you said, her career was over 40 years. So we grew up knowing who she was, but this next generation may not have such an intimate relationship with her. So just give you one of y'all favorite movies that had Cicely in it.
I know Mr. Prince is going to say the one that I was going to say. He just said it. Fall from Grace, that wasn't my favorite, but it was just like, we get to see her in action again. Fall from Grace was good. But also the Mad Diary of a Mad Black Woman, classic. And that's when I feel like, she started really bridging the gaps between her generation and our generation. Like, so all those I think were very good. But this catalog is mean.
I think the most prevalent one that now I've seen Cicely Tyson in a lot of things, but I think maybe the most prevalent role that I think probably I connected to her the most had to have been Diary of a Mad Black Woman. I feel like that speech that she gave in front of everybody kind of allowed you to really like check yourself and look like, dang, she's making sense. And that was like a pivotal moment because a lot of our aunts, unfortunately, they're not talking to us like this. Yeah. So it felt like she was talking to us, and like giving us a little spanking, like get in order, like we got work to do. But yeah.
Some notable roles, I think, just again going back to Black history, The Roots, which was a mini TV series about Kuta Kinte and our ancestry and their road to liberation. She played in that. Maya Angelou was in there. A lot of notable Black actors that I think people should know about. So if you have not seen that movie, that is a Black History Month movie. Please go and watch it.
I messed up on mine too. It wasn't a Diary of a Mad Black Woman. She was in that too as the mother, but it was Medea's family reunion. Family reunion. Right? That's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. She, to me, a lot of Cicely's roles were the matriarch of the family, and she always had the role where she's the wisdom of every movie. That's what I'll say. So from Fried Green Tomatoes that came out in '91, Sounder, Road Trip to Bountiful, The Help, all of these movies, she has a similar narration to why her role is so important. So I just think all of those movies, Black History Month movies, and again, someone that I think I don't want the next generation to lose their connection with how she has paved the way for so many of us.
That was deep, man.
I was saying, finally somebody said The Help. I was waiting for someone to say that before.
Yeah, The Help for sure.
If you look at her catalog.
Okay, and no one said how to get away with murder.
No, you can.
That she was in that episode.
She was in a few episodes. She was the mother.
She was Viola Davis'
mom.
No, after a certain season, I kind of like lost my connection with that show for some reason. But continue.
Tap in.
What's funny is how everybody said this is Black History Month movies. If you go on Hulu, they have Black History Month movies, and they're also serious roles, movies I would never watch again. I hate those movies. Why we couldn't be like All About Your Benjamins or Money Talk or something like that? Something funny.
All About the Benjamins is now on
Netflix.
Yeah, it's on Netflix now. So.
That's one reason I thought about it. I'm looking at it right now. I'm tired of looking at it. I can't watch Fruitville Station again.
Oh yes, no, but for black girls only. That was a one time. Fruitville one. Even Jesus. What was the movie Mel Gibson did? I only seen that once.
You talking about Passion of the Christ?
Yeah, that was a one time.
The first movie I ever cried off of, and I was like in elementary school.
That was a one. There are definitely those staple movies that you only need to see one time.
That is so. This could be a segment itself, y'all. That is so true. Fruitville Station, definitely literally watched that one time. Like you said, Passion of Christ, definitely only watched that one time.
For black girls only, one time.
One time.
I can't watch you. I can't like debate. It's too much. It makes me emotional.
But those are the movies that are listed when they're like, oh, Black History Month. Let's show that we're down with black people and list these movies like, damn, it's all slave movies and people dying. I don't want to watch this. Yeah. I'm good.
I think, but you want to know what? Again, going back to like being invited to the cookout, because we're black people, we lived it, and our grandparents and our ancestors, and we come from that. We know our own story very well. It's for the other people who need to understand in this place where we are in 2021 and the oppression against black people. You need to understand why we feel this way. You need to understand what your ancestors have done to get us to this point. So I don't even think it'd be for us, it'd be for them.
Then why put Black History on it? That ain't our problem. We know what's going on.
About our history, though.
Facts.
And what about this stuff for Black history in general that they don't put in textbooks, like the Black Panther Party? That's never going to be in a textbook. The only way people are going to learn is if we keep that conversation going in our community. That we're never going to learn about Angela Davis. We're never going to learn about Fran Hampton. We're never going to learn about that. So.
Well, maybe not. Well, I'm not in grade school right now, obviously. Maybe things might have changed. But, I mean... You go ask one of your goddaughters. Actually, my goddaughter is really into that type of shit. She knows all that shit. She lives in Oakland right now, so she knows all that shit.
Mm-hmm. Ask her, is it taught in their curriculum?
Oh, okay, ask that.
But the good thing that I like about the new generation of kids is they're seeing a lot of Black power things happening around them, so they are asking questions. Like they're seeing themselves in these rooms, and they're seeing like they want to know the history. So that's one thing I will say about the new generation is they're asking questions that we didn't ask until we were of a older age.
And then you also have some Black educators who are now the new teachers who are also including those things in their curriculum. Like shout out to Valencia Clay, big sis, literally like she educates them through music and through history, certain authors, D. Watkins. Like, so it's a lot of new educators that are now make sure they include that in our school system. So
and that's taking on an obligation to make sure that they know. Like again, that's not coming from like your mandate. It's like, no, I'm gonna make sure that I'm giving back and pouring in to our youth the way that I know that they need to be poured into.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's important.
I mean,
that's beyond important.
They Google everything else. They can find a TikTok dance in a heartbeat. Get on Google to learn your history. That's all I can tell you. Like, nigga, you could Google all this all the time of bullshit and hit me up like, hey, Walt, what's this? I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have had this conversation with you.
But I think another thing that they're seeing too is they're just seeing a lot of Black people come into pioneer roles and doing things that are different that we didn't have the opportunity to see like in the 90s and early 2000s. They're seeing those examples now to where the highest that a Black person can go. Like, look what we got. We got a Black woman and we have a Black president and a Black woman as a Black VP. Like, you get what I'm saying? We had a Black president and a vice president. These are things that they're able to see that we didn't get to see. We just we heard about it, talked about it, learned about it, but they're actually experiencing that. And I think that's the different drive with the new generation. But Black women, how does it feel to be in the office?
That was so great, that transition, because literally it's not that we didn't see, like we had the Oprahs and stuff like that, but it's just more so hearing about the impossible. That's the thing that we heard about. Like, yeah, we could be a president. Yeah, you could be a president. But it was just like, it took for us to experience our first Black president, Obama. So now, all right, we're not just hearing it. Now we're seeing it. And now we have Kamala Harris, that is now the first woman of color that is in position as vice president. God forbid anything happen to Joe Biden. That could perhaps be our next president of the United States. And on top of that, she's in a sorority, HBCU. Like, so we are seeing a lot of things now that we only heard about. So it feels good, but I know Myrt going to get us deep. So go ahead, Myrt.
No, I'm just very happy that it didn't take so long after Obama for that to happen. I think when you think about like the timing and coming off of Trump and being disheartened, I think in this landscape, you really just see, honestly, it could go either way. Yeah. But at least now we have that balance. Now, you know for sure, just because you get a dickhead in the office for 4 years doesn't mean you can't come out of that to greatness. Or that it doesn't mean that the power can't go back the other way. I don't ever want people to feel like the oppression that we experience is forever. Yeah. Now, that had to happen to me in order to get everybody to move forward. Mm-hmm. So again, I'm not mad about it. I'm happy, but I'm eager to learn more about Kamala Harris as a woman outside of just the politics and stuff. Like the way we got to know Michelle Obama, I don't quite have that connection to her yet. So I'm gonna keep it real, but I'm eager to want to know her on a deeper level. Yeah, I want to see that.
That was well said. No, for sure. We got to learn Michelle over time.
Yeah.
Who she was as a person. She made herself real personable too. So I think
I need that moment for me to really stand for somebody. I need to really feel like I know you.
But I ain't gonna hold you though. I do think she's gonna be calling the shots, low key. I can already feel that she like, that don't make sense, but let's do it this. And I feel like Biden is gonna listen.
Unless you're Dick Cheney, he controlled everything when George Bush was in the office.
And even though
I'm being real.
Pence had a lot to say regarding when Trump was in there too. Like,
but that's because Trump is an imbecile.
And so was George Bush.
So I mean, Kamala, she's definitely going to be. I feel like.
So you mean to tell me the vice president doesn't sit in any of those meetings? It's like
no, they have to.
But I'm saying like the decision, like the part about like when you think about a coach on a team, when you think about an assistant coach and a head coach, like the role of an assistant coach and what a vice president does, I'm talking about as far as the hierarchy works, people think that the VP is way more hands-on than they are, and they're not.
For sure, she gonna be in there saying what the hell needs to be going.
I mean, you saw her on her debate. She said she kept accidentally saying on the Harris administration versus the Harrison Biden administration. So,
but I think that Biden stands for that. Like, one of the things that he said was, if he finds out anybody was treating someone unjustly or unkindly, no matter what they look like, who they are, their background, you had to go. So I think he's also, again, welcoming that type of energy. So we going back to like competent incompetence. We going back to like fairness. We going back to oppression. He sees the state of where we are, and Biden had to beg us to support him. So he also is not in a place where he can really fuck up and not really and really show basically everything he said he was going to do. He got to do. He got to double down on his word.
I'm glad you said that about beg us to vote, because there's another Black woman that was a heavy cause of why we got the Senate passed as well as the president, and that would be the Stacey Abrams. Hey,
right, let's clap it up.
This Black woman is just so pivotal. And this is how you can say when God closes one door, he just opens up a roof, because there was a race that she lost. But in the long run,
she's still thriving.
She thrived. And, they're inducted for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So,
but that goes to show you, too, sometimes those things that we think are losses, that's the trajectory. That's what's going to push you to the next level. So it's like, is it really a loss, or was that my blessing in disguise?
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
She also just released, when I was looking up some recent things as of today, she had dropped an article, and it's basically like our democracy faced a near-death experience. Here's how to revive it. So she lists a couple things that the Democrats need to do. Democrats in Congress must fully embrace their mandate to fast-track democracy reforms that give voters a fair fight, rather than allowing undemocratic systems to be used as tools and excuses to perpetuate that same system. So the agenda needs to restore democracy, also include the passing of the For the People's Act to protect and expand voting rights, and then further fixing our democracy requires we finally allow our fellow Americans in DC, in Puerto Rico, the vast majority of whom are people of color, to have full access to our democracy. That means DC statehood and binding self-determination for Puerto Rico. Like she just really said today, she is laying that out there. Just follow her blueprint and we're going to be good. Basically, that's what she's saying. Okay. And I agree. She's genius.
So I also want to touch on a subject too, being a Black woman, thriving in America and having such a burden on your back, because I feel like there's an expectation of what the Black woman should be. As a Black woman, how is that dealing with that pressure? Because they give it to us, but they give it to you guys twice as hard.
I think that Black women are reshaping the way we define ourselves, because I'm Every Woman came out decades ago, but literally you can show up as anybody you want to be. And we are no longer allowing people to put us in boxes of what they think we're supposed to be. And because you have a Kamala Harris to a Cardi B to Megan Thee Stallion, Gabrielle Union, we have these array of Black talented women who are saying you are not going to objectify me by putting this box. I define my sexuality. I define who I am. And I'm going to tell you who I am versus you tell me. So I've been watching so many different examples of Black women take our power back. It's this array of different stories by Black women that have a different narrative. I just think it's important that we continue to take the power back, which I'm not gonna say lessens the pressure, but it gives you something to smile about. Like, I'm happy about who I am. I'm happy about where I'm going. I'm happy about what I'm doing. And I'm also going to uplift my sister in the process. So I feel like personally for me, I don't really think about the pressure. I think about showing up as the best version of who I want to be, the changes that I want to make, and the people that align with my vision. And that's it. I don't see nothing else.
I mean, she said everything that I was going to say.
Message.
No, so I think that's been our role for so long. It's just more so like Myrt saying, just making sure that we show up for ourselves and we don't box ourselves in, and we get the respect that we feel as though we personally deserve, and showing up as that and embodying that for the next generation of women and girls to come. Like, so I don't think we really more so worry about the pressure. We just make sure that we're getting the respect that we require all around the board.
And how do you think us as Black men can help make sure that mission goes forward? Mm-hmm.
Y'all got to show up for us how we show up for y'all. Like, it's a lot of times where we as women, like, all the Cardi B's don't get respect, all strippers don't get respect, or all it's just so many different women who, if they do certain things, they don't get the respect due to, certain actions. But it's a lot of things that men do as well. But y'all expect us to show up for y'all, So the same way publicly, if we've been hearing about so many women who are getting beat up if they aren't, you get what I'm saying, like talking to guys in a certain way. Or even down to like I don't want to get into the trans community, but you get what I'm saying? Even out to the trans women, like, even though people have different views about that, but they are still technically considered the women population. So we just need more support and respect from men. When we're in these fights for respect, talk up and stand up for the women as we do for y'all when it's marches or everything else.
Just to piggyback off that narrative, this whole protect Black women thing, the same way they say normalize this or normalize that, normalize protecting Black women when it's your man on the shopping block. Yep. Because the same men that's supposed to protect us are often the ones violating us, ignorant to rape culture, ignorant to this, ignorant to that. And then when it is called out, Black women's stories are often basically not taking it serious. Oh, she lying, or oh, they're just trying to lessen the trauma and pain by like negating that it ever happened. So Black women are then required to have to go full force against the people that's supposed to protect us. Why not just believe me? Why not? Why you can't check your man? Your man did X, Y, and Z. I'm sorry. People want to know if I'm hanging out with a creep or I'm dealing with a nigga that violates women, tell me. But when we tell y'all, where's the accountability?
I don't check them.
And I'm telling you this because I experienced it myself. I feel like I have to step into protect my friends and protect my little sisters and protect the women I love because the men not doing a good enough job. Mm-hmm. So normalize protecting Black women when it's your man on the shopping block.